Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be. It is official. The Broken Binding Special Edition of The Way of Adan is going to be available for purchase on November 15 and 16 for subscribers to the Broken Binding, and later on November 17 at noon Greenwich Mean Time for the general sale. So if you're not a subscriber to the Broken Binding, it will only be available on the 17th at noon GMT. And I do have a feeling, based on the way the Broken Binding has been performing, their sales and everything, that it'll go fast. So if it is something that you're interested in, I suggest that you jump on it ASAP when it becomes available. But I'm just so thrilled with how this thing came out. I'm very excited. I'll be getting a copy for myself, and I cannot be more excited to see it in person. Yeah, it has art in it. The cover by Renee Egner is magnificent, and to me conveys exactly the vibe of the early chapters of The Way of Adan. And interior art as well by Renee Egner, 4 beautiful color illustrations that are full spread. And also 4 fantastic black and white illustrations by Peng Lu, as well as some just an incredible job on the boards by Kate Cromwell, and she also did the typography on the cover. Just a beautiful raven design that she made for the actual hardcover itself. Jack Shepard did a beautiful job with the map, of course, and could not be happier with seeing Jormungand, the way he has made it come alive. And Patrick Leo, I have to shout out for his fantastic art direction and bringing everything together. Such a reliable and hardworking person. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to work with Patrick on this project. And Mark Lawrence as well has written a beautiful foreword, which I can't wait for people to see. So yeah, that's it. And you will need to go, if you're interested, to the Broken Binding website. And in my announcement video, I provided a link to that. But it is just the Broken Binding. And there will be 1,500 copies printed. And hopefully people who are already fans of the trilogy will be able to get a hold of it if they want to. But I do think it is likely to sell out pretty quickly. And the cost is, by the way, £55, which translates to roughly $70, I believe. And of course, there will be shipping costs as well. So yeah. Oh, also, one last thing is that it won't come until probably, I believe they were going to ship them out in late January, early February or so. That's what the announcement said. So yeah, it'll take a little while after they're ordered to arrive, just so you know. I'm also very thrilled about what's happened for the audiobook so far. We've had fantastic feedback, a lot of very happy listeners to The Way of Adan, as narrated by Alan from the Library of Alexandria. I could not be happier with the brilliant performance that Alan put in for this audiobook. I just feel that he has brought the story alive in his own way, this performance, and it is tremendous. I enjoyed it myself thoroughly. I'm not much of an audiobook listener. In fact, it's the first audiobook I ever got through. So, of course, there may be a little bias at play there, but I really do feel that Alan has just knocked it out of the park here. Pretty much everybody who has left a rating on either Goodreads or on Audible or wherever has agreed. There's been some really positive feedback. So I really encourage you to, if you're curious about it, check out the free sample that's available on Audible or on Amazon. You can check out a few minutes of Alan's narration there, and I think you will be impressed. So it's just a tremendous job, and I'm so happy that he is working on The Prophet of Adan as we speak. And what else is going on here? Well, all 10 finalists are out for Spiffbox for the self-published fantasy blog-off, the 10th iteration of the contest that was founded by Mark Lawrence in order to shine a light on self-published fantasy. And I'm so privileged to be one of the judges. And I had a wonderful team helping me out this year who gave me 5 actually beautiful semifinalists. And from them, I had the difficult task of picking a finalist. And I picked The Tenacious Tale of Tana the Tender Sword, and it is competing now against the other 9 finalists. So if self-published fantasy is something you're interested in finding out more about or supporting, I encourage you to take a look at those 10 finalists and check them out because there are some wonderful stories that emerge from this contest, and many of them have gone on to become very well-known, famous books like Sword of Kaigen, for example, or Josiah Bancroft's The Books of Babel. That started out with Senlin Ascends being a self-published book that first got some notice from being in this contest, and there's a number of books that have gone on to be very successful. So it's a great place to check out some great stories. So yeah, that's going on as well. And I have been having a blast with One Piece, of course. I could not be more happy with the decision to read One Piece this year, and I will hopefully be able to catch up and be current along with lots of other people sometime next year. But yeah, this has been a tremendous journey for me, and I recently completed the tremendous Summit War saga, in particular the Marineford and the post-war arcs. Just amazing stuff. I was blown away. You can tell in the video I made, if you've seen it, how much it affected me. This is deeply emotional storytelling. It is absolutely rich with important themes, and it is also just incredibly fun. And somehow it does all those things at once, which is really I'd have to say a product of some real genius storytelling, in my opinion. So I've had a great time with it, and I'm so happy to say that I'm not done talking about the Summit War saga. I'm going to be chatting with a couple friends, with Alan from the Library of Alexandria, the Alan, and also Jimmy from the Fantasy Network, about just probably focusing mostly on Summit War, but on basically this whole first half of One Piece, because that's where I am, basically halfway done with One Piece. And so it's a good stopping point. If you know, you know why it's a good stopping point to take stock and yeah, just appreciate what I've read so far. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion, and I'll be putting that discussion out probably midweek. So yeah, be on the lookout if you're a One Piece fan. I'll be putting out that discussion, and hopefully it'll be full of great insights, because I know Alan and Jimmy both bring a lot to their understanding of this particular story and stories in general. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with the two of them. And also, for the many people who have given me the kind recommendation to check out the One Piece fan letter, I will be doing so after I read the Return to Shabandi, or Sabaody, whichever pronunciation you want to use. I'm totally cool. But after I read that arc, I will be checking out the One Piece fan letter, because I have been recommended that, and it sounds like it's something very special, so I'm looking forward to it. And now, what am I reading? Well, oh boy, do I have some cool stuff here. The Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. John Gwynne is a big favorite for me. He and I are kindred spirits, I feel, because we are inspired by a lot of the same great stories, including, of course, Lloyd Alexander's The Chronicles of Prydain, and also Tolkien's Everything by Tolkien, but some of the old stuff too, like the Old Norse sagas and Beowulf and that kind of thing. So John Gwynne and I definitely see eye to eye when it comes to a lot of our inspirations. And I am reading The Fury of the Gods, and I will be hosting a discussion that will include some very cool people, including Patrick Leo and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, and Sam from Sam Not So Wise, and because Sam also, by the way, does speak Icelandic, so he'll be a big help in this conversation. And also Ed and Will from the Brothers Gwynne, highly appropriate since they are kind of related to John Gwynne. And John Gwynne himself I will be discussing. So it's going to be a great warband there to discuss The Fury of the Gods, and we'll have the author himself present. So I'm really excited to be chatting with those folks, and I'm already 120 pages or so in, and this has so far been a really fast-paced, fun, action-packed, emotional read. And I expect nothing less, because that is John Gwynne. That is what he is great at. And also I am reading Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill. This thing is as heavy as it looks, and it is 1,000 pages, but not just 1,000 pages. It is the 1,000 pages of the tiniest print that you could possibly get away with. And I'm actually really having a great time with this. I'm actually 350 something pages in, and it's tremendous. It is the best I have read so far in The Bound and the Broken, for sure. And I feel like with every book, Ryan Cahill gets better and better with his craft, and he's from the very beginning done a great job of getting you attached to the characters. And again, it's a very action-packed, very plot-driven, fantastic storytelling, really. Just good stuff. And I'm finding more depth as well, and just a bigger scale in Of War and Ruin. So he's doing a great job. I'm very excited to be close to becoming current. I'll have to read The Ice as well, and then Ryan Cahill has his the last book, I think, in the series coming out next year. So I'm excited for that, for sure. I'm glad to be caught up almost with that. And I'll be chatting about that as well, because I've been in these great discussions with John from Talking Story and Christopher Navo and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews about The Bound and the Broken. So we'll be getting together. I'm the slow one. I think I'm the last one to read Of War and Ruin, so they're probably just waiting for me. So, and hopefully also Ryan Cahill will be joining us when we discuss Of War and Ruin, which would be fantastic. So next, I will, after I finish Of War and Ruin, I will be picking up The Great Ordeal. This is the third book in the Aspect Emperor series, or the, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth book in the Second Apocalypse series overall, which has 2 series within it. So Prince of Nothing and Aspect Emperor. But yeah, this is the penultimate book in the Second Apocalypse series, and I'm so excited to get to this finally. I've been eager to get to it. I've been busy, though. I had to read a lot for SPFBO and other things, so it's been longer than I would have liked to get to this, and I know that my friend Joanna is ahead of me now. She's actually finished reading The Great Ordeal. So I need to catch up to her so we can discuss it, and I'm really looking forward to that a lot. So yeah, and Baker is just brilliant. And I anticipate that once I am able to do that, there are a couple books that I want to get to. One, this has been years, really, of me saying I'm going to read this thing, because I have read the first 3 books in the Stormlight Archive, and I intend to read Rhythm of War so that I can join the rest of the universe in December reading the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive, Wind and Truth. But yes, it's taken me a long time to get to this, and now I'm motivated. So yeah, and even though it is a rather thick tome, oh my goodness, look at that page count. Usually Brandon Sanderson books read very fast for me, so I will hopefully get through that. And I'm not sure if I'll do that first or if I'll do Traitor's Knot by Janny Wurtz, which is the 7th book in the Wars of Light and Shadow, and I'm very excited to get to this. This is the kind of writing that I love the most. Janny Wurtz's Wars of Light and Shadow has been such a treat for me, and I treasure every moment I have reading her gorgeous prose. So yeah, I'm excited to be getting into this one and discussing it with AP Canavan and with Joanna when they are able to get to it as well. So yes, that is on the docket. And before the end of the year, also, I really want to get to the 5th Ursi book, which I haven't read. I reread the first 4, which I more or less grew up with and love and have read I don't know how many times. But I've never actually read the last one, The Other Wind. So I need to do that. And also the short stories. All of them are printed. All of the Ursi books are in this big one here. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I want to make a video about why I love Ursula Le Guin's Ursi series, why you should read, all about a sort of a guide to something of that nature. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that before the end of the year. We shall see. Definitely for December, I'm going to be reading The Last Kingdom, and that is something I will be discussing with the Quilluminati, which consists of Brian from BellTube and John from Talking Story and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews and yours truly. I have really enjoyed the first 2 books that we read together and discussed, and this one is actually my pick, The Last Kingdom, It is set during the time of the Viking invasion of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. And the last kingdom is probably a reference to Wessex, which was the only Anglo-Saxon kingdom not entirely conquered by the Vikings, and eventually made quite the comeback as well. So yeah, I'm excited to read some Bernard Cornwell. That is a book I read many, many years ago, so I have very little memory of it, but I'm excited to get back into some of his writing, and I know that next year, probably at some point in 2025, I'll be reading his Warlord Chronicles as well. So let's get to some Bernard Cornwell. And one that I'll be reading probably in early January. This one was actually initially going to read earlier, but we put that discussion off a little bit, but it's going to happen in January. And I'm very excited to read Anna Smith Sparks, A Sword of Bronze and Ashes. I've heard a lot of great things about her. And I'll be discussing this with my friend Angela from Do Unicorns Read. But I've heard a lot of praise for Anna Smith Sparks' writing from various people, as I mentioned before, among them Ed and Will at the Brothers Gwyn, and you know, some great people who just love fantasy. A lot of high praise for Anna Smith Sparks' work. So that's the one I'm going to start with for her. Elsewhere on BookTube, I have been busy. I was in a discussion with Bookborn and Taylor from Made Between the Pages and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network, and it was on Bookborn's channel. This was a discussion of Jade Legacy, the third book in the Greenbones saga, which I really loved. Had a great time. I had my quibbles here and there, but I was kind of the middle person. I was doing the middle ground sort of in that discussion, with Jimmy being probably, fair to say, the most critical of Jade Legacy, and Taylor and Bookborn being huge fans of the book. But I think we had a great discussion. It's fun when there's a little disagreement among people, and you get new perspectives that way, and I really appreciated that discussion. And I was a guest on a Schmudgeon of Curmudgeon. That is a show that is done by Willow Wraith Press is the name of the channel, but it's actually Bill Adams and Dewey Conway, and these are the two authors of The Tenacious Tale of Tana the Tendersword. So their channel is Willow Wraith Press, and I had a great time chatting with them about their wonderful book that I was privileged to read and pass along as a finalist for SPFBO. So yeah, and I was also a guest on Christian's Hobbyblog. I had a great time chatting with Christian, who just recently finished the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and he wanted to talk to somebody, and he thought of me, and I'm very grateful that he did, because I had a great time talking with him about his experience of reading the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So check that out if you're a Malazan fan. And also I was on BellTube recently. Brian was celebrating his 1-year anniversary of his channel, and it was so much fun to be part of the conversation over there at BellTube. We were having a great time, just a whole big group of us. There were, I think, up to 9 of us at certain points in the discussion. People were coming and going, but there were usually 8 or 9 of us in the discussion, and having a great time, just celebrating the joy that is BellTube. And also, I'm going to be participating in another celebration. So Jake over at Nerd Level Rising has asked me to drop by when he celebrates surpassing 1,000 subscribers on his channel, Nerd Level Rising. So that's going to be happening, I believe, 7 o'clock Eastern Time this day when this video comes out. So if you're in the mood, go and check out that celebration as well. There are all no end of great discussions around this community. We are all about the friendship and supporting each other, and talking about the stories that we love. And I'm very grateful for all of you for being here, for supporting me, for your comments, for being part of this community. I am privileged to be here, and I am enjoying myself thoroughly. So I'll be up to all kinds of stuff in the future, but that is it for me for now. Until next time.